2024. It is both an honor and a solemn responsibility to address this distinguished gathering on a day such as this, which reminds us of the enduring values of justice, equality, and dignity for all. We have amidst us Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Chief Justice of India and Patron-in-Chief NALSA. Sir has been a guiding figure in all initiatives of NALSA in the recent times. Lordship, under your able stewardship, NALSA has not only broadened its reach, but has also deepened its impact. We are extremely honored by your presence here, and we look forward to your guiding thoughts, sir. Having Honorable Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai, Judge Supreme Court of India and Executive Chairman NALSA, amidst us is also equally gratifying. Lordship, we wait eagerly to hear you share your vision about the legal services authorities and the strategy they should evolve to cater to the masses at large. We are further privileged to have amidst us Honorable Mr. Justice Suryakant, Judge Supreme Court of India and Chairman Supreme Court Legal Services Committee. Lordship, we are deeply honored by your gracious presence at this significant event, and we look forward to your continued guidance in our shared mission to create a more just and equitable society. I also warmly welcome Shri Arjun Ram Meghwalji, Honorable Minister of State for Law and Justice, Independent Charge. NALSA greatly values its collaboration with the Ministry of Law and Justice. Sir, your constant support and encouragement to all initiatives and programs of NALSA has gone a long way in building an institutional committee. I would also like to extend my warm welcome and heartfelt felicitations to all the distinguished honorable judges of the Supreme Court of India who continue to guide NALSA on its journey towards creating a more aware and inclusive society. I also sincerely welcome all the other esteemed guests who have joined us today, either in person or virtually. As we celebrate the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, we realize that the principles enshrined in this sacred document resonate deeply with the ideals of our Indian Constitution, which came into existence almost contemporaneously. As the Member Secretary of the National Legal Services Authority, I feel a profound sense of duty to ensure that these constitutional promises translate into tangible realities. NALSA, with its network of state and district legal services authorities, stands at the forefront, ensuring access to justice for all, particularly those who have hitherto been marginalized and disadvantaged. Today, as we celebrate this landmark day, we reaffirm our unwavering commitment to breaking down barriers to justice and empowering the vulnerable. One of the core mandates of the legal services institutions is to provide free and competent legal services to prisoners languishing in jails. Among the incarcerated population, elderly and terminally ill prisoners form an especially vulnerable group, often neglected due to limited access to legal support, medical care, and rehabilitation services. Many of them have served long sentences and are no longer a threat to society, but remain behind bars due to procedural delays, lack of legal representation, or family support. Today, we shall witness the launch of a special campaign for all prisoners and terminally ill prisoners, which shall continue till 10th March 2025. This campaign lies at the intersection of justice, compassion, and humanity. Honorable Justice B.R. Gavai, our Executive Chairperson, is the progenitor of the idea to have this campaign. Lordship was deeply touched by the story of a 93-year-old woman lodged in a jail in Karnataka, who was subsequently released after intervention of legal services authorities in the state. He immediately asked us to come up with some concrete roadmap to assist such old prisoners and terminally ill prisoners lodged in jails. This special campaign is premised on the idea that justice is not about punishment. It is about restoration, rehabilitation, and human dignity. Providing legal aid to old and terminally ill prisoners is not an act of mercy. It is a constitutional imperative. It reflects our collective humanity and our belief that every individual, regardless of their past, deserves fairness and dignity in the twilight of life. We shall also witness the launch of the quarterly schedule for UTRC meetings to be held next year. Such a schedule and framework for UTRC meetings in 2024 was conceived last year under the guidance of the then Executive Chairman NALSA, Honorable Justice Sanjiv Khanna, as his Lordship then was. This launch of the quarterly schedule for UTRC meetings has since yielded positive results. NALSA, with a view to empower the common man, shall also be releasing some awareness material and video today, informing the Aam Aadmi about their right to free legal aid and to spread awareness about the rights of a person at the time of apprehension or arrest. As I conclude, I would just like to say that there are still countless individuals who are denied their basic rights. There are still many who are unable to access justice. There are multitudes who are forced to suffer in silence and who are denied their inherent dignity. We must ramp up our efforts further and continue to fight for justice for such individuals. On this solemn occasion, let us recommit ourselves to promoting and protecting human rights. In the words of Nelson Mandela, the struggle for justice is not a struggle for the faint of heart. It is a struggle that requires courage, perseverance, and determination. I have no doubt that each one of us possesses these qualities in abundance. So let us march forward together with hope in our hearts and determination in our minds. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words. I would now like to request Honorable Minister of State for Law and Justice, Independent Charge, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji, to kindly address the esteemed audience.
नेशनल लीगल सर्विस अथॉरिटी द्वारा आयोजित ह्यूमन राइट्स डे 2024 के कार्यक्रम में मंच पर उपस्थित देश के सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के विद्वान व न्यायिक सुधारों को गति देने वाले मुख्य न्यायाधीश व नालसा के मुख्य संरक्षक माननीय न्यायमूर्ति संजीव खन्ना जी, सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के न्यायाधीश व नालसा के कार्यकारी अध्यक्ष माननीय न्यायमूर्ति बी.आर. गवई साहब, सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के न्यायाधीश व सुप्रीम कोर्ट लीगल सर्विस कमेटी के चेयरमैन न्यायमूर्ति श्री सूर्यकांत जी, हमारे अटॉर्नी जनरल ऑफ इंडिया, हमारे सॉलिसिटर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया, सुप्रीम कोर्ट बार एसोसिएशन के अध्यक्ष कपिल सिब्बल साहब, नालसा के मेंबर सेक्रेटरी श्री भरत पारासर जी और नालसा के डायरेक्टर श्री MP नायक निम्बालकर जी तथा उपस्थित माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के अन्य सभी माननीय न्यायाधीश, वरिष्ठ अधिवक्तागण, मीडिया बंधु तथा अन्य सभी श्रोतागण, ह्यूमन राइट्स डे 2024 के अवसर पर आप सभी को बहुत बहुत बधाई। यूनाइटेड नेशंस जनरल असेंबली द्वारा 1948 में यूनिवर्सल डिक्लेरेशन ऑफ ह्यूमन राइट्स के अडॉप्शन की ये 76th वर्षगांठ के अवसर पर न्याय के सर्वोच्च मंदिर व मानवाधिकारों के संवैधानिक संरक्षक के रूप में भूमिका निभा रहे माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट परिसर में आयोजित इस कार्यक्रम में शामिल होना अत्यंत गर्व और हर्ष का विषय है। भारत के परिप्रेक्ष्य में देखा जाए तो भारत के हजारों वर्षों की समृद्ध परंपराओं व सांस्कृतिक मूल्यों में ही मानवाधिकारों का संरक्षण व संवर्धन समाहित किया गया है। इसी का परिणाम है कि विश्व का सबसे बड़ा लोकतंत्र भारत मदर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी के नाम से जाना जाता है। मानवाधिकार के कुछ मानक जो सभी मनुष्यों की गरिमा को पहचान कर सम्मान पूर्वक उनकी रक्षा करते हैं, आज उनका महत्व और बढ़ गया है। आज का ये कार्यक्रम मानवाधिकारों की रक्षा हेतु सभी महापुरुषों, संस्थाओं व संगठनों को याद करने का भी अवसर है, जिन्होंने समाज के सबसे कमजोर व हाशिए पर रहने वाले लोगों के जीवन में सकारात्मक परिवर्तन लाने में अपना योगदान दिया। इस अवसर पर मैं महात्मा गांधी, बाबा साहब डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर, ज्योतिबा फूले, नेल्सन मंडेला, मार्टिन लूथर किंग जूनियर जैसे अनेकों मानवाधिकार के चैंपियन को श्रद्धा सुमन अर्पित भी करता हूं। संविधान के 75 वर्ष पूरे होने के उपलक्ष्य पर देश भर में हमारा संविधान हमारा स्वाभिमान कार्यक्रम आयोजित किए जा रहे हैं। यह बाबा साहब डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर सहित अन्य संविधान निर्माताओं की दूरदर्शिता का ही परिणाम रहा कि देश की गाइडिंग लाइट के रूप में दिए गए पवित्र दस्तावेज संविधान में फंडामेंटल राइट्स, नीति निर्देशक तत्वों तथा सामाजिक, आर्थिक व राजनीतिक न्याय, स्वतंत्रता, समानता व बंधुत्व की भावना को मजबूत करते हुए ह्यूमन राइट्स से जुड़े हुए पहलुओं का बारीकी के साथ समावेश किया गया है। विगत एक दशक के कालखंड में अंतिम पंक्ति में खड़े व्यक्ति के जीवन को सुगम बनाने हेतु अंत्योदय के मंत्र पर चलकर सैकड़ों जन कल्याणकारी योजनाएं संचालित की जा रही है। इसी का परिणाम है कि 25 करोड़ से अधिक लोग गरीबी से बाहर निकले हैं। चाहे 53 करोड़ से अधिक वंचितों का बैंक खाता खुलना हो, बिना बिचौलियों के डीबीटी के माध्यम से सरकारी योजनाओं का पैसा सीधा लाभार्थियों के खाते में पहुंचाना हो, 4 करोड़ भारतीयों को पक्का घर मिलना हो, 10 करोड़ से अधिक मुफ्त गैस कनेक्शन मिलना हो, 12 करोड़ से अधिक घरों को नल से जल की सुविधा उपलब्ध करानी हो, 11 करोड़ से अधिक शौचालय निर्माण हो, अथवा देश के करोड़ों गरीबों व बुजुर्गों के लिए 5 लाख तक का स्वास्थ्य का खर्चा उठाने की आयुष्मान भारत जैसी योजना हो, ये सब बुनियादी सुविधाएं उपलब्ध करवाकर प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में मानव अधिकारों को का समर्थन करने का ही कार्य किया गया है। सरकार द्वारा दिव्यांगों का जीवन आसान करने व थर्ड जेंडर को उनकी पहचान व उनका हक दिलाने के लिए कदम उठाए जा रहे हैं। यहाँ ये उल्लेखनीय है कि वर्ष 2019 के आम चुनाव में 39,683 तथा 2024 में 48,044 थर्ड जेंडर मतदाताओं ने सहभागिता करके लोकतंत्र के नए आयाम को मजबूती भी दी है। सरकार द्वारा विभिन्न संचालित योजनाओं, कार्यक्रमों व संस्थागत इंटरवेंशन करके मानवीय दृष्टिकोण अपनाकर ह्यूमन वैल्यूज के मीन्स से ह्यूमन राइट्स का ख्याल रखा जा रहा है। न्याय की पहुंच को सर्व सुगम व सर्वसुलभ बनाने के लिए नालसा द्वारा जरूरतमंद नागरिकों को कानूनी सहायता व सेवा प्रदान कराने का सराहनीय कार्य किया जा रहा है। जेलों में कानूनी सहायता, क्लिनिक की स्थापना, वैकल्पिक विवाद समाधान को बढ़ावा देना, लोक अदालतों व मध्यस्थता के माध्यम से विवादों का हल किया जा रहा है। नालसा द्वारा विभिन्न वंचित समूहों के सामने आने वाली चुनौतियों का समाधान करने के उद्देश्य से विभिन्न विशेष योजनाएं बनाकर एसिड हमलों के पीड़ित, आपदाओं से बचे लोग, मानव तस्करी के शिकार, असंगठित क्षेत्र के श्रमिक, बच्चे, मानसिक रूप से दिव्यांग व्यक्ति, आदिवासी समुदाय और जरूरतमंद वरिष्ठ नागरिकों को आवश्यक सहायता उपलब्ध कराने का कार्य मानवाधिकारों के प्रति संवेदनशीलता व ईज ऑफ जस्टिस फैसिलिटेट करने हेतु तत्परता को दर्शाता है। इस प्रशंसनीय कार्य के लिए नालसा सहित पूरी लीगल फ्रेटर्निटी को मैं बधाई देता हूं। इसी श्रृंखला में आज के इस कार्यक्रम में ओल्ड प्रिजनर्स व टर्मिनली इल प्रिजनर्स के स्पेशल कैंपेन तथा जागरूकता सामग्री का वर्चुअल विमोचन ये दर्शाता है कि कैदियों की उम्र या स्वास्थ्य स्थिति कैसी भी हो, उन्हें न्याय से वंचित नहीं किया जाना चाहिए। ये पहल इन वंचित समूहों के प्रति संवेदनशीलता व सामूहिक प्रतिबद्धता का परिचायक है। वर्तमान में विकसित भारत संकल्प के साथ हम सभी देशवासियों के लिए एक क्वालिटी व एक डिग्निटी से फुलफिल्ड लाइफ सुनिश्चित करने की दिशा में आगे बढ़ने के लिए प्रयासरत हैं। ह्यूमन राइट्स डे के इस अवसर पर मानवीय मूल्यों को ध्यान में रखकर मानवाधिकार से संबंधित क्षेत्र में नई जागृति व चेतना के साथ इंट्रोस्पेक्शन करके जरूरतमंदों को बेहतर जीवन का मार्ग प्रशस्त करने में हम सभी कामयाब हों, इसी आशा के साथ मैं इन 4 पंक्तियों के साथ अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हूं। मानवता का दीप जलाएं, अधिकारों का गान, हर दिल में हो प्रेम की धारा, हो सुख में जहान, जाति धर्म का भेद मिटाकर सबको मिले समान, हर नागरिक को हक है जीने का, यही सिखाता हमारा संविधान, यही सिखाता हमारा संविधान। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you, sir, for your insightful and thought-provoking address on this special occasion. Now, I kindly request Honorable Mr. Justice Suryakant to address this august gathering, enlightening all present regarding the significance of this day.
Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Chief Justice of India and Patron Chief, National Legal Service Authority. Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Ramakrishna Gavai, Judge Supreme Court of India and Executive Chairperson, National Legal Service Authority. Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court. Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal Ji, Honorable Minister of State for Law and Justice, Union of India. Chief Justices of the different High Courts and Executive Chairpersons of State Legal Service Authorities who have joined us online. Shri R. Venkatramani, Learned Attorney General for India, Shri Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General of India, Additional Solicitor Generals for India who are present here, Shri Kapil Sibal, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Shri Iyer, Supreme Court President of the SCORA, members of the Supreme Court Bar, Senior Advocates, Secretary General and other officers of the Supreme Court Establishment, Member Secretary and officers of the NALSA, esteemed lawyers, distinguished guests and participants. A very good evening to all of you. I am delighted to stand before you as we come together to commemorate the Human Rights Day with a vital initiative, namely NALSA's special campaign for old prisoners and terminally ill prisoners. I take this opportunity to commend Honorable Mr. Justice Bhushan Ramakrishna Gavai for his vision in conceptualizing this campaign and to acknowledge NALSA's unwavering commitment in making it a reality. It is without doubt a timely and essential intervention. There is a universal and powerful truth that every individual, regardless of race, religion, gender or status, is entitled to rights that guarantee freedom, equality and justice. Yet, as we look around, we realize that these rights often remain out of reach for most of the vulnerable among us. NALSA's special campaign aims to ensure the rights of two such vulnerable groups, namely the prisoners above the age of 70 years and prisoners with terminal illness, by securing their release through interventions at every level of the judiciary. I believe this campaign will push forth the reformative aspirations of our criminal justice system. A thin line exists between appropriate and inappropriate continued detention. Our laws have always tried to make that distinction clear, as we do not send minors to jail nor mothers of young children and women to pre-trial jail. We also resist placing senior citizens in pre-trial jail. Another significant instance is during the COVID-19 pandemic, when courts across the country granted temporary and permanent release for medical treatment to prevent outbreaks in prison and to decrowd jails. We often make such distinctions on compassionate grounds in light of human right values, particularly the right to live with dignity, which we have guaranteed even to non-citizens within India. We are well aware that the right to dignity includes the right to adequate medical care, and it obligates prison authorities to provide for those who need it. But for older prisoners and terminally ill prisoners, these protections often remain theoretical, inaccessible, impractical, and too often invisible. The healthcare requirements of any person multiply as they age and often become more complex. Sometimes these health issues become incurable and may even prove to be fatal. In such circumstances, doctors generally advise terminally ill patients to visit hospitals regularly alongside palliative care, which may be provided in the comfort of their home and where they may be surrounded by their loved ones. This ensures that the difficult times of their illness are spent with utmost dignity. If this is the standard of treatment throughout the globe, why should it be denied to old persons and those suffering from medical complications solely because they are behind bars. This is not what our reformative criminal justice system envisions, and this is surely not our constitutional ethos. The very object of imprisonment is to punish the individuals in a manner proportionate to the crime committed. It is not to deploy the convict in jail, left to their own devices, and make them succumb to an inhumane existence. The moment the degree of suffering is greater than the deprivation of liberty intended by the punishment, such incarceration becomes disproportionate, retributive, and confronts our constitutional values. This is where law and policy must step in together to ensure that such prisoners are granted compassionate release. A specialized mechanism to identify the prisoners in need, to collate the necessary documents and medical reports, ensure they satisfy the criteria for release, draft the pleas, represent them, and follow up on multiple levels of review is the need of the hour. Without it, needy individuals are unlikely to ever receive the benefit of these programs. I applaud NALSA for their efforts in launching this campaign to streamline the process for compassionate release and for taking up this challenge head on. I sincerely appreciate that they have identified a void in our system and have devised a program to bridge it. I wish them the best for the journey ahead. Friends, NALSA or its subsidiaries like Supreme Court Legal Service Committee or State Legal Service Authorities are not mere statutory compositions. They are a promise to Indian civic society. They are the hopes of millions of justice seekers. Today, let us promise to work together to empower every citizen, acknowledge their dignity, and bridge every gap between the people and the law. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your intellectually stimulating address filled with thoughtful insights into the roles and responsibilities of legal services institutions and legal services functionaries in promoting and zealously guarding human rights. I now take this opportunity to respectfully request Honorable Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai to address the distinguished audience on this momentous occasion.
Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjiv Khanna, my esteemed colleague and Chairperson of the Supreme Court Legal Services Committee, Honorable Justice Suryakant, my learned brother judges from the Supreme Court, Honorable Minister of State for Law and Justice, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji, the learned Attorney General for India, Shri Mr. R. Venkatramani, the learned Solicitor General of India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, the other law officers of the Union Government, the Honorable Chief Justices and the judges of various high courts who have joined us virtually, Mr. Kapil Sibal, the President of SCBA and other office bearers, Mr. V.P. Nair, the President of SCORA and other office bearers, members of the Central Authority of NALSA, and members of the governing body of SCL-SC, the officers from the Government of India, Shri Kurekar, the Secretary General, and the other registrars of the Supreme Court, member secretary and officers from NALSA, member secretaries of the various legal services authorities who also joined us virtually, and friends. As we celebrate the Human Rights Day 2024 today, I begin by reaffirming that NALSA is dedicated to safeguarding the human rights of all individuals in India by providing free legal aid mechanisms. The focus of NALSA's activities is to empower the citizens and to make justice accessible to them, even in the remotest locations of the country. NALSA's vision over the next few months has a focus on ensuring that the NALSA services are known to every citizen in this country, enhancing the reach of legal services through the NALSA toll-free national helpline, and in ensuring access to prompt and effective legal services at all stages of the inquiry, investigation, and criminal proceedings. In this light, today we launch an awareness video focused on informing suspects and arrested persons of their rights when brought into the police station for questioning or interrogation. This is crucial because, on average, nearly 1.4 crore persons are arrested every year across the country. A large majority of these individuals are unaware of their rights, including the right to the presence of a lawyer at interrogation, or to know the grounds of their arrest, or to contact their family members. The awareness video is in furtherance of the NALSA easy access to justice at pre-arrest, arrest and remand stage framework to ensure that suspects and arrested persons are aware of their rights and can make informed decisions. Today we also launched a special campaign for old prisoners and terminally ill prisoners. Both of these categories of prisoners face unique challenges and circumstances in detention. There are thousands of prisoners who are either above the age of 70 or suffer from terminal illness, who face innumerous difficulties in navigating in prison environment. Bearing in this mind, NALSA has framed this special campaign to assist in securing the release of prisoners above 70 years and the prisoners with terminal illness through focused and individual interventions at the Supreme Court, High Court and District Courts. The campaign, which begins today, will conclude on 10th of March 2025 and envisages the constitution of units at national, state and district, comprising functionaries and lawyers from legal services authorities, respectively. The activities under the campaign include conducting prison visits to identify and physically interact with prisoners, collecting their documents, developing individual strategies to secure their release, filing appropriate applications and petitions, and tracking the outcome and release. The units have also been tasked with ensuring that such prisoners, when released, have access to adequate post-release support. In addition to the campaign, the document and awareness video, we also launched posters and pamphlets in English and Hindi that are focused on creating awareness amongst the masses regarding NALSA's roles, beneficiaries of legal services, and the toll-free helpline number. These documents will be translated in all regional languages. We are also releasing the schedule of the under-trial review committees for the year 2025. URTCs are district-level committees headed by district judge to conduct quarterly review of cases of prisoners in their district and give recommendations of release in appropriate cases. I must place on record my appreciation for the NALSA team in evolving all these programs and fructifying it today, particularly Mr. Parashar, Mr. Nimbalkar, Mr. Anurag, Ms. Mehta. I must also place my special appreciation for our judicial officer and member of NALSA team, Harshita, for penning down a beautiful poem which will, in a simple language, make the prisoners and their families aware about the rights of the prisoners. Our endeavors are guided by the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, who had a significant role in the framing of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And I quote, "Where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places close to home, so close and so small that they cannot be seen on any maps of the world. Unless these rights have meaning there, they have little meaning anywhere. Without concerned citizens' action to uphold them close to home, we shall look in vain for progress in the larger world." Unquote. With this, I appeal to all to work together to uphold the constitutional principles and guarantees to ensure that these vulnerable persons can have access to justice and live with dignity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Your address today was indeed a compelling message to all legal services institutions and functionaries to put their best foot forward to promote legal awareness and safeguard rights of the marginalized and vulnerable sections of the society. Recognizing the unique vulnerabilities and difficulties faced by old prisoners and terminally ill prisoners in navigating the prison environment, NALSA, with the approval of the Honorable Executive Chairman, Justice B.R. Gavai, is launching a campaign titled Special Campaign for Old Prisoners and Terminally Ill Prisoners. The campaign duration is from 10th December 2024 to 10th March 2025. The primary objective of the campaign is to expedite the release of old prisoners and terminally ill prisoners through provision of effective legal aid services and to facilitate their reintegration in society after their release where necessary. NALSA is also launching some information flyers regarding legal services, beneficiaries, and schemes. We are also releasing the schedule for the UTRC meetings for the year 2025. On this note, may I request Honorable the Chief Justice of India to kindly launch the special campaign for old prisoners and terminally ill prisoners, as well as the awareness material and schedule for quarterly meetings. May I request, sir, Thank you so much, sir. NALSA had in the past come up with the NALSA framework for early access to justice at pre-arrest, arrest, and remand stage, which laid down the framework for provision of legal services at the pre-arrest, arrest, and remand stages. A mandate was cast upon the legal services authorities to apprise suspects and accused persons regarding their rights. To spread awareness about these invaluable rights, a short awareness video has been prepared by NALSA for wider dissemination among the masses. On this note, I request Honorable the Chief Justice of India to kindly release the awareness video.
संविधान की धाराएं हमें बहुत कुछ बताती हैं। ये मौलिक अधिकारों की महत्ता हमें सिखाती हैं। भारत की दंड विधि हमें ये दर्शाती है कि हम सबके कुछ अधिकार बहुत बुनियादी हैं, जैसे गिरफ्तारी के कारणों के बारे में पाना जानकारी, ये बताना पुलिस की है एक भारी जिम्मेदारी। परिजनों से संपर्क करना भी है संदिग्ध अपराधी का एक महत्वपूर्ण अधिकार जिसका उल्लंघन कानून को कतई नहीं स्वीकार। अपने वकील को बुलाना और उसे अपना पक्ष बताना हर अपराधी का है यह अधिकार पुराना। जिसका नहीं हो वित्तीय सामर्थ्य दी जाएगी उसे मुफ्त कानूनी सहायता जो नहीं होगी व्यर्थ। आत्मदोषारोपण से बचाव है एक अंतर्निहित अधिकार। जबरन दोष स्वीकार करवाना पुलिस द्वारा किया गया एक संवैधानिक अपराध। गिरफ्तारी के बाद न्यायिक दंडाधिकारी के सामने पेश कराना है पुलिस का कर्तव्य। इस प्रावधान का उल्लंघन है अक्षम्य। शारीरिक यातनाओं से बचाव है हर अपराधी का अधिकार। हमारा संविधान करता हिरासत में हुई बर्बरता का बहिष्कार। महिलाओं की मान रखना और गिरफ्त में न लेना सूर्यास्त के पश्चात इस प्रावधान का उल्लंघन भी है एक जघन्य अपराध। अगर एक महिला को लेना हो गिरफ्त में सुनिश्चित करें कि महिला सिपाही हो संग में। पुलिस हिरासत में भी है लोगों के ये अंतर्निहित अधिकार। इन अधिकारों का हनन अदालतों को भी नहीं स्वीकार। न्याय का संबल मिले सबको, यह है हमारे संविधान की पुकार।
Thank you so much, sir. I would now humbly request Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjiv Khanna, the Chief Justice of India, to kindly deliver the presidential address.
Mr. Justice B.R. Gawai, Judge Supreme Court of India, Executive Chairman NALSA, Mr. Justice Suryakant, Judge Supreme Court of India, Chairman Supreme Court Legal Services Committee, brother judges from the Supreme Court, judges who have joined online, including the Chief Justices, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwalji, Minister of State for Law and Justice, Government of India, our legal aid workforce who have joined us virtually, distinguished guests, Attorney General Mr. Venkatramani, Solicitor General Mr. Shar Mehta, Mr. Kapil Sibal, Mr. Nair. I am indeed honored to join in this ceremony commemorating 77th Human Rights Day, which marks the adoption of the Universal Declaration for Human Rights way back in the year 1948. This declaration enshrines a powerful truth that by virtue of a shared humanity, as humans, each person inheres fundamental freedoms and rights that transcend all divisions of race, gender, nationality, language, religion, or ethnicity. These rights are not mere psychological or philosophical statements. They are universal. They belong to every human being. They are inalienable. It cannot be taken away or offended except under specific legal conditions. They are indivisible. Each right reinforces the other in an intricate web of human dignity. Together, they form the bedrock of the society as the world we live in that inspires and aspires for freedom, justice, and global peace. The call for compassionate and humane justice has found a powerful voice in the words of our Honorable President, Srimati Draupadi Murmu, who highlighted the critical need to reimagine the justice system through the lens of the deprived. Her timely observations have brought about critical focus to concerning phenomena of what I will call, and some others call, black court syndrome. In that syndrome, I'll include both the judges and the lawyers. The challenge reflects a deep-seated fear and alienation felt by the marginalized and the disadvantaged about our legal system. Her concerns extend further to the under-trial prisoners languishing in jails, underscoring the pressing need to transform our justice delivery system in favor of the most vulnerable. The disparity in impact of law on different socio-economic classes becomes evident, and I'll give two examples. The first example is the mandate in law that on each date of hearing, the accused should be present in person, except when he is granted exemption from personal appearance. To the rich, it makes no difference because their work continues. But what happens when a rickshaw puller or a person who's earning daily livelihood and depends upon his daily earning spends the whole day in court, and then he's informed that he has to come next week? He loses the entire day wages. He has to pay the fee of the lawyer. He has to ensure that his food for his children, his family members is made. The second example I'll give is from my own personal experience, which showed me and told me that the most difficult court in Delhi was of that of traffic challans. The reason was we have enhanced traffic challans. Yes, they were required to be enhanced to make punishment severe, but the impact thereof is mostly felt by the ones who are self-earning, who have taken the vehicles on EMI. They are self-employed, they employ others. The moment the vehicle is impounded and the fine of 5,000-6,000 rupees is imposed every month, he is down. He's down, he's not able to pay his EMIs, he's not able to look after or take care of his children. And that's why there was violence, there was shouting going on in the traffic challan courts. We emphasized this and informed and took up this issue with the judges, and to some extent, we were able to handle that situation. This brings us to the most important question. The question is, call for compassionate and humane justice. How do we ensure this? How do we promote this in our legal system? Criminal courts are the area which require a lot of emphasis. They require a lot of reform. The laws require a change. We have decriminalized a number of laws, but a lot of work is still in progress. This becomes particularly important if we look at the number of under-trial prisoners. The national capacity of under-trials is 4,36,000, but our prisoners presently house about 5,19,000 prisoners, which means they are overhoused by 119%. 119% is occupancy, total capacity. The overcrowding particularly affects the under-trials, severing their ties with the society. Such disconnect pushes them into a spiral of criminalization and making reintegration a challenging task. One significant step which has been taken to meet these challenges is enactment of Section 479 of Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita 2023. This progressive provision adopts a humanitarian approach to allowing first-time offenders to be released if they have spent 1/3 of their potential maximum punishment period in custody. It acknowledges the crucial reality: prolonged on-trial detention affects the presumption of innocence while trapping individuals, especially those from marginalized background, in deepening cycles of disadvantage and societal alienation. Responding to this vital need, NALSA today launches a special campaign for old prisoners and terminally ill prisoners, an initiative reinforcing our commitment to compassionate justice. Through systematic identification of elderly prisoners above 70 years and those suffering from terminal illness, this campaign will facilitate legal services and ensure that most vulnerable prisoners population receive justice and dignity they deserve. Complementing this initiative, the newly launched awareness material serves as a vital bridge between legal provisions and those for whom they are meant. These resources will not only empower citizens to understand and claim their rights, but also create crucial awareness about NALSA's comprehensive support from 13 targeted schemes to a toll-free helpline number. This dual approach of direct intervention and enhanced legal literacy helps us build a more responsive and accessible legal aid ecosystem. India stands distinguished in the global landscape of legal aid, embracing a vision that is truly unparalleled in its scope and ambition. In a nation where some of us still grapple with poverty, we have built a world's largest and most comprehensive legal aid system that transforms the constitutional guarantee of justice to everyday reality. What sets the Indian approach apart from its expansive vision is the legal aid here is not only about public defenders, but also encompasses a holistic system of justice delivery. Through our extensive workforce of 43,050 Adhikar Mitras or paralegal volunteers, 1,227 legal prison service facilities, 419 legal aid centers, working at the grassroots level, we have created an ecosystem that brings justice to the doorstep of every citizen. This is particularly transformative for the most vulnerable groups, the women, children, elderly, persons with disability, and marginalized communities. Our model is unique in its reach and inclusivity, demonstrates that legal aid can be both comprehensive and compassionate, both efficient and emphatic. By resolving over 7.5 crore cases through Lok Adalats in 2024 alone, we have shown that justice can be accessible and swift. Our impact extends further, reaching out to more than 7.76 lakh beneficiaries this year till November 2024. This proactive approach towards early access of legal aid, NALSA has provided crucial legal assistance to over 25,000 individuals at pre-arrest stage and about 150,000 persons during the remand proceedings. Civilizations must be judged and prized not by the amount of power it has developed, but by how much it has evolved and given expression to by its laws and institutions, the love of humanity. These words of Rabindranath Tagore remind us that our achievements mark significant milestones in making justice accessible. Our journey is a work in progress. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words, which shall serve as a guiding light to all of us and shall inspire us to work tirelessly towards ensuring that human rights of none are violated. I would now request Shri S.P. Nayak Nimbalkar, Learned Director, NALSA, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Indeed, it is an honor and privilege to present the vote of thanks. I humbly want to attract your attention to a very apt perspective on the human rights, and I quote, "The maxim of law is there is no right without remedy. The maxim of history is there is no right without wrong. Thus the story of human rights is the trump of remedies over human wrongs." Unquote. In the cacophony of violations of human rights and denial of just claims, legal services institutions provide a vital link towards ensuring access to justice and in protecting the rights of every individual, including those who are marginalized and vulnerable. I am very sure that today's discourse about human rights has struck the right chord. On behalf of National Legal Services Authority, that is NALSA, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Honorable Justice Sanjiv Khanna, Chief Justice of India and Patron-in-Chief NALSA, for his unwavering support and seamless guidance. I also express my deep sense of gratitude towards Honorable Justice B.R. Gavai, Judge Supreme Court of India and Executive Chairman of NALSA, for his unconditional cooperation and persistent support. Lordship's presence always inspires us to take the new initiatives and achieve newer heights. I am thankful to Honorable Justice Suryakant, Judge Supreme Court of India and Chairman Supreme Court Legal Services Committee for extending wholehearted support and cooperation in all our endeavors. I express my sincere gratitude to Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Honorable Minister of State for Law and Justice, for gracing this occasion with his presence and sharing his valuable insights. I would also like to express my sincere thanks to Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court of India for gracing the occasion. I would also like to express my sincere thanks to Honorable Chief Justices and Justices of High Courts joining us virtually, Learned Attorney General for India, Learned Solicitor General of India, and Learned Additional Solicitor Generals, Learned Members of the Central Authority of NALSA, Learned Secretary General of the Supreme Court, Learned Registrars of the Supreme Court, Learned Member Secretary SC LSC, and Learned Member Secretaries of SLSAs, and Learned Secretaries of the High Court Legal Services Committee, and Learned Chairpersons and Learned Secretaries of DLSAs, TLSCs, who are present virtually. Learned Secretary, Department of Justice, and learned senior bureaucrats and officers from the Ministers of Government of India, learned Director Generals of prisons of different states and UTs, learned Home Secretaries of states and UTs who are joined virtually, learned President and Office Bearers of SCBA, learned President and Office Bearers of SCORA, esteemed lawyers, distinguished guests, and participants for honoring us with their attendance. I am grateful to Ms. Harshita Mishra, Additional Registrar, Supreme Court, and former OSD NALSA, for writing an aptly worded poem and giving the voiceover for the same for the video on pre-arrest guidelines which was released today. I would also like to thank all participants, attendees who have joined virtually. I thank them for the involvement and attention. I would also like to thank the Supreme Court accredited media persons and officials of Doordarshan and All India Radio. I would also like to express my sincere thanks to our organizing committee and staff members of NALSA who, under the stellar guidance of Shri Bharat Parashar, Learned Member Secretary, have literally burned the midnight oil to ensure the successful culmination of this event. In the same vein, I also take the opportunity to thank Horticulture Department CPWD for their tireless efforts in planning and executing this event seamlessly. Lastly, I extend my appreciation to the members of technical team, other staff of Supreme Court, Comparer Ms. Manushri, official of registry, and other volunteers who are the behind-scene heroes putting their sweat and labor in the seamless organization of this event. Thank you once again, everyone, for making this event a memorable one. Let us take the inspiration and ideas shared today and apply them in our respective journeys. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. May I now request the technical team to play the NALSA theme song, which is a beautiful exposition of all that NALSA stands up for.
एहसास न्याय का सबके लिए, आकाश न्याय का सबके लिए, उल्लास न्याय का सबके लिए, विश्वास न्याय का सबके लिए। अपने इस हिंदुस्तान पर हक हमारा भी तो है, इंसाफ के इस आशिया पर हक हमारा भी तो है। एक मुट्ठी आसमां पर हक हमारा भी तो है, एक मुट्ठी आसमां पर हक हमारा भी तो है।
ना सोचो दर्द हमारा कहीं सुना न जाएगा, अब न्यायालय खुद चलकर चौपालों तक आएगा।
लाचारों को न्याय मिलेगा, दुखियारों को न्याय मिलेगा, कमजोरों को न्याय मिलेगा, मजलूमों को न्याय मिलेगा। अपने इस हिंदुस्तान पर हक हमारा भी तो है, उम्मीदों के इस गुलसितां पर हक हमारा भी तो है। एक मुट्ठी आसमां पर हक हमारा भी तो है, एक मुट्ठी आसमां पर हक हमारा भी तो है।
गरीब और कमजोरों को मुफ्त एवं सक्षम कानूनी सहायता के लिए प्रतिबद्ध विधिक सेवा प्राधिकरण नालसा, न्याय सबके लिए।
With that, we come to the end of today's program. I request everyone to kindly join us for high tea. The dignitaries are requested to kindly join us for the high tea in the ceremonial dining hall on the 3rd floor. The other esteemed guests are requested to join us for the high tea in the foyer on the 3rd floor. Thank you.